Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it.
Welcome in to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. We are live today at WeGotSoccer on Westheimer in West Chase. We're joined by Christian. Christian, how's it going?
Good, man. How's it going? How's it going, everyone? I don't even know where I'm supposed to look over there. More of a camera guy. But yeah, no, today I'm very excited. We get to have not only the president of soccer for the Houston Dynamo, but a legend of the club. So I think before we get into the more manager stuff and, the day-to-day stuff, I think we need to ask you, well, first of all, thank you for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me.
Pat Offset, ladies and gentlemen.
Pat Offset, yes, I'm taking these off. But I just wanted to ask you, how does it feel to be a legend?
I don't know if I feel like I'm a legend, but when people keep telling me I'm a legend, I guess I'm a legend. No, it's fun being back in the city. That's for sure. I've enjoyed the last 3.5, 4 years, and my wife and I love Houston, and we had our daughter was born here, so we feel like I'm home. So I really enjoy coming back.
That's awesome.
So I don't know about a legend.
You got a bobblehead this year, though. So.
That was nice. I had one in Rochester, New York, but I looked like Spock in that one. It looks exactly like Spock. In fact, they might have just used Spock and some other one and said, let's just slap a Rhino's sticker on it and say, here's your bobblehead. I'm like, hang on, that's not me. But it was nice. And it was a nice iconic moment, right? That one we're sliding on the knees was a moment goalies don't get to do too often. So I thought, what the heck, might as well. And it was nice that they remembered that.
So, yeah.
Well, that was a soft.
Can we just keep talking about good memories?
That was the softball question. Softballs.
Go.
Now we would be.
All right.
People are probably yelling this at
of course
in the YouTube comments. They're like, "Get to Pat."
Yeah.
So transfer window just ended.
Yeah.
You guys did bring in 2 new guys. Antonio Carlos has been here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Diadai Samaseko. I'm probably butchering his name, but he just joined this weekend. So what can you tell us about those guys? Obviously, Antonio Carlos looks like he's getting into the starting lineup, getting into the rhythm.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll talk about the players, and probably we should talk about the strategy going into the window. But to get kind of ahead of it a little bit, Antonio Carlos, we need some experienced center back. I think as the season went on, we'd hoped Eric Shevchenko would get back, get healthy, and be on the field. He's played, I think, a combined 300 minutes of this year, which has really hurt us because we've had a young center back beside him. I still consider Ethan Bartlow relatively young, but certainly Pablo Ortiz is young to our league, and Femi Owadusu is very young. So we needed a senior guy next to him, and I think throwing these guys in the deep end was a little bit unfair to them. So we knew we needed a leader and a guy that experienced this league, and we were fortunate to be able to kind of convince Antonio to come back. And what we've seen so far in the 3 games that he's played has been pretty impressive, and I think he makes the guys beside him better. And sure, clearly for us, it was a pretty big need, something we can get into a little more detail. But that's one. Chache Samaseko is that's Samaseko. I'm saying that's right. I should have said it more confidently. Chache, the first name I'm still trying to figure out. Yeah, but he's a defensive midfielder, and for us it was more cover, and it's twofold. It's we know he's a defensive midfielder that destroys, breaks up plays, and is a pretty simple connector in terms of the way he plays. But we're also know Brooklyn Reigns, who's slowly evolved this season, has really gotten better as the season has gone on. As a young player, we're excited about his potential and future. He's also going to the U20s, so he'll miss the last couple of games of the season, and he'll star with the U.S. national team there. And we don't know what that means. A lot of times, if a guy is especially central midfielder from the U.S., they're highly touted around the world. So we want to be prepared that we have someone in-house that come January, someone makes an offer for Brooklyn Reigns, we're able to have someone that's already here and acclimatize. Because what we learned from the last window, losing Mikel at the end and then not having someone in the building, hurt, and it's still costing us this season. We have not recovered from that, and that's on the recruitment, which falls on me. That's not on Ben Olsen. That's not on his coaching staff. That's on myself and our technical director, Asher Middleton, to make sure that doesn't happen again.
I want to dive in just a slight second. I'm supposed to stay on track, but just a about Samaseko because a lot of people were worried about the lack of playing time that he had in the last few years. I'm pretty sure that you guys looked at that. Does that worry you at all?
He's not a regular starter. What? That's
No.
news to us. Yeah, of course, we know. We know the background. I mean, and that's part of the reason he's attracted to us is if we're bringing in a starting Bundesliga center midfielder, that's not a guy that's going to be a town player. That's going to be a player that comes in as a designated player, and it's going to be tough to pry away. So it's a bit of a market opportunity, but he is a player that we had seen live, and we'd seen that we were excited about bringing in. And then as the window went on, we kept saying, kind of held firm on what we felt his value would be. And as the window went along, he also started diving a little bit more into MLS and a little bit of us and said, okay, I'll take a little bit of a chance. So it's a bit of a leap of faith from both sides. But he's certainly a player that has a good experience. Yes, he has not played the last 2 seasons really regularly. Yeah. One of those because he had a pretty bad injury 1 year, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. But we're confident we'll get him up to speed and he'll be a pretty successful player in our league.
Cool. So there were some rumors. Social media rumors are always around.
They're always right.
That you guys
always. That's where I get all my information.
I figured
everything. This is what I do.
Tom Bogert feeds you information.
Yeah. Yes. Some people would say some people in this room might say the other way around.
But yeah, there was some rumors of possibly a winger from South America, a center back. Were those close, or can you these players are under contract with other teams. I would say one of our priorities going into the window was to try to get some left wing verticality. The player I believe in question that we're talking about is a player that we had. The reason we're connected to him is we looked at him before he went to Zagreb on Cordoba. So things hasn't worked out perfectly further. So did we kick the tires? Yeah, we spoke to the club and kind of kicked the tires there, but unfortunately, not everything aligned for us. Good player. We know he's a vertical player, and right now he's Zagreb's player. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. And the other player, I believe, is probably a Chilean player we're talking about. He's a guy, again, that we looked at for a while. He's an undersized center back. Probably in our system, he'd be better served as being a stay-at-home left back. We think Felipe Andrade's done really well there. So I don't know if it was a perfect fit, but he's done well down at Colo-Colo, and we'll continue to monitor him.
So it had nothing to do with the whole Vancouver situation.
No. I mean, there's all these discovery rights and this, that, and the other. In the end, I think it was pretty late in the window when an opportunity pops up late in the window. It's always tricky when there are other obstacles, but Vancouver's they'd already gone and got a center back anyway, so I don't think there would have been any issues if we decided to pursue it.
I was trying to explain discovery rights to my Chilean cousins.
Oh,
and it was a little difficult, but
how long's the show? To be in fairness, the idea behind that principle of having discovery rights is really a little bit of cost certainty within the league. So we're not negotiating. If Vancouver has the rights to the player, we don't go and negotiate the player and say, well, Vancouver will only pay you X amount. We'll pay you X plus 10. And, Vancouver is stuck either having to match what we offer them. Now, if we do that, that's illegal in our league. And so that's what the idea of the discovery is. And we have 5 players that are rotating probably every week. We're usually changing 1 or 2 while we're looking at them as we're populating these names and, valuations and see if they fit our club.
And I know obviously you're not going to say names, but obviously people always want DPs. DPs this, DP that. Did you guys have any, people inside? Do you guys have a list?
Yeah, we have lists. We have loads of lists. And we have DPs. I think what we went into this window on a couple of fronts. One we haven't talked about is going into the windows. We were worried we were going to get an offer for Jack McGlynn that we couldn't refuse, and we were going to lose him. So we went to him. Jack loves what he's doing here at this club. He loves the opportunity that Ben's giving him to play higher up the field, a chance for him to be kind of a playmaker for us. We believe in him as a young American talent. We went to him and said, okay, well, if you want to stay here, we'd like to extend and get a little bit longer. So we re-signed him. And what that is 2 things. One is it gets a little more certainty. If he doesn't go anywhere, we've got a Jack McGlynn in our club now for 3.5, 4 years, which is wonderful. He's a good player in our league, guy we believe in. And then number 2, it also raises the transfer value. So now between his agents and us is that the number I think that some teams were kicking the tires at is now kind of gone up. And the hope is that he's here. He makes the World Cup team and that we have a guy who's a World Cup player and performs. And at that stage, then we'll see if we can get the valuation. And if not, we've got a fantastic player here in our club. So that was a really big piece for us because talking about DPs, that's probably the type of player you're going to have to go out to replace a Jack McGlynn. So those were the DPs we were lining up at the beginning of the window and looking at. And in the end, we decided, and Jack came to us and his group came to us and said, hey, listen, we really like what's happening here. We like the project. We believe in it. We think it's probably best for Jack's career if we stay here and see where it goes. So we were really excited to be able to get that deal done.
Awesome. Speaking of DPs, I know Ezequiel Ponce, one of the DPs, has had a bit of a rough year. 7 goals, not bad, right, for an MLS striker, but he's gone through some stretches. There was also some reports about him possibly Liga MX, talks like that. Can
you guys read a lot on these. I haven't even heard that
Twitter's
one.
wild.
So that's a no.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. That's for sure.
Okay.
So,
but just overall, your thoughts on Ponce and how he's fit into this team and what you guys.
Yeah, I've gone on the record and I'll go on it again. We brought him in to score goals for us. Period. Is he happy with 7 goals in league play? 9 in all comps, but seven in league play. No. Are we happy? No. In the end, though, the only way he's going to score goals is if we give him service. And I think this will go back, and Ben's probably said this on your show as well, but the issue we've had this year is being able to get behind and penetrate behind defenses. And part of that is we thought we were going to have Nelson Quiones. We were told probably a week into preseason, it'll just be a week behind. He has not recovered, so we didn't have a vertical winger. Again, I'll go back to recruitment. Should we have gone out in the first window and get a vertical winger? Lawrence and Ollie came back pretty much on schedule, if anything, a little bit ahead of schedule. He's still not quite 90 minutes fit, but he's getting there. And you can see when he comes on the field, the team comes to life, and so does Ponce. Like you can see when he gets service. Granted, he's offside, but Griffin, it's a nice cross in the first half, and he buries it. But that's how he's going to score his goals. We had a great event with season ticket holders yesterday, and had a really good discussion with a gentleman who's saying, well, I don't understand. I want somebody that can go beat players. I go, well, first off, that's not Zeke. Zeke's not a guy when he faces one-on-one. He's not going to dip a shoulder, run past anybody. He doesn't have the footwork to be able to go. But if we can get him service, he'll stick his nose in there and he'll get in front of players and he'll score goals. But we haven't been able to do that. So, that's a little bit on us and for us to criticize him and say, hey, he's not. What he does do is he gives us a hard shift every game. His running numbers are certainly from a defensive standpoint, which is maybe not what you want to hear from your DP, but we actually were looking at it the other day, but he's by far does the most running of any forward in the league defensively, which creates a lot of turnovers for us and creates opportunities for us. He doesn't get much credit for it, but I think all of us would want more goals out of that position and out of him. But at the end of the day, if we don't get him service, he's not going to get that. That's our responsibility.
So actually, me and Dustin, we talked a couple of years back whenever you guys came in, you and Asher, and we talked about what's a good timeline for the Dynamo to kind of look like they're going to be competing for a title, right? So we thought maybe 2 years building a team. Obviously, there was an exodus of players going out, a lot of players coming in. Did you guys have like a timeline like that where you're like, obviously you want to compete every single year?
Funny enough, we actually thought it would be about a 4-year timeline. So when I came in, I kind of put a 4-year plan together for Ted Siegel, who, by the way, has been an awesome owner for us and been very supportive of what we're trying to do. This year, obviously, none of us are happy with where we're at this year. This year, for us, I don't want to call it a disaster because we got 7 games to go and we can salvage the season. But we're not happy at where we're at. I want to be crystal clear in that. I don't want people to go here, oh, he seems so joyful. I'm not joyful, and I haven't slept in a while. So maybe I'm a little hooked on caffeine right now, so I'm fine. But I think for us, we said 4 years. Surprised, I think, in the second year that we had the success we did. We made it to a Final Four, basically lost in the semifinal, and won a U.S. Open Cup. I think that surprised us a little bit. But I give a lot of credit to Ben and his coaching staff, and I'll give a lot of credit to our recruitment group that we got a lot of things right that year. I think that year we made 17 changes, and we got a lot right. This year we've made 16 changes, and I think some are still getting into the group. Last year we had a points record for the club, fizzled out. I mean, disappointing first round of the playoffs, but 2 red cards. And Unfortunately, that'll kill you against Seattle. We already know Seattle's going to be tough for us, but we're really happy where we're going. This year, not so much. But I think when you know, some of the things that we've done, and fans are probably not going to hear us, but we set our 2 records in terms of sales. Our academy, we actually feel like the club is pointing in the right direction with our academy now. We play the most minutes of academy players in the second team. We're really happy with where that's going. We think we're going to start producing players in the next few years that'll start now influencing the first team, where I don't think when I came into the club that our academy was anywhere near that. We've been able to, I think, even just stay in the youth space a little bit, is to be able to develop relationships again with a lot of youth clubs, which I think bridges were completely burnt when I got here. Us getting out of the youth business was a really smart move. I still think there's some trepidation from some clubs thinking we're going to get back in there. I can tell you, as long as I'm at this club, we are not getting in the youth business. We have 4 academy teams, and that's the business we're in. We're in the business of trying to produce professional players. So I think that piece has been successful. You know, we're happy with that, but we have work to do this season. Like on the field, it's not good enough. And, you know, we just came from a meeting actually with Ben and Asher, and the 3 of us are, you know, we're distraught. We're pissed off. We're frustrated. And, you know, we're going to keep fighting until we're told that we're not going to make the playoffs, but we still believe in this group. And, I believe in certainly the staff that we have around this group. So we keep pushing.
You talked about it a little there, but with a difficult season, challenging season, comes all those questions, right? The roster, to the coaching staff, to the front office, right? What gives you the confidence, not only in the roster, but Ben, the coaching staff? What gives you the confidence going forward?
The last 2 years. I mean, the last 2 years, I just went over, you know, a U.S. Open Cup championship, a Final Four, a points record. For us to say, and then we go and sell our 2 best players within 10 days of the start of the season, in Coco Carrasquilla and Mikel, and then to say, oh, well, I can't believe they didn't get off to a good start. Of course not. We didn't have guys took Jack a little time to acclimatize, get him higher in the field. I think he's been a good replacement for Coco Carrasquilla. Different type of profiles, but in that position on the field, he's good. Like that's a really good signing and a good spot, but we didn't recover, and that's on us. And when I say us, the recruitment group, we didn't with Mikel. And we took us a long time to bring in even a Pablo Ortiz, who needs an experienced guy beside him. And that's really, I think, in the nutshell, when you look back at our year, defensively in the penalty box, we've struggled this year. We've given up a lot of bad goals. I mean, I think I heard this in the press conference after the game, I didn't realize it was that bad, but we haven't had a lead since, or haven't been scored first since June in a game. That puts a lot of pressure on your team, because otherwise, if other teams get leads, they'll sit back in a low block. And if it goes back to us not having enough guys running behind because we don't have that profile. We are getting those players back now with Lawrence and Ollie. It's very difficult to score goals. So we put ourselves in this position, but we're the only guys that can get out of it.
And let me ask you 2 quick questions. One of them.
Sorry, I ramble. You guys know that now, right?
You good.
I know.
We planned for that.
Yeah, okay, good. That's good. Dustin is playing on his phone. I think he's playing Candy Crush.
That's great. I'm checking our boss.
It's Candy
keeping us on
Crush.
schedule.
Candy Crush.
The first one, obviously, I don't know how far you can take us behind the curtain with the deals with Coco and Mikel. I mean, obviously, for us as fans or people that follow the team, it came unexpected. I don't know how unexpected that came to you.
I'm surprised that people would say that Coco was unexpected. I mean, Coco has gone on the record. We'd gone on the record that Coco wanted to get a transfer and he wanted to get out. Granted, he always said I wanted to go to a top 5 league.
Yeah.
That window pretty much closed on him, and that was going to happen. But the reality is, he tripled his salary going down to Mexico, and he wanted to leave. So in the end of that stage, you try to get as much as you can for the club to try to make sure that we're set up for the future. And we went into an off season with 0 cap space. That transfer alone helped us open up a ton of cap space, and even more so what you get is GAM. I know we're going to go into this. This is another show for another time, but selling players is what helps. And Asher Mendelson puts it perfectly. He says, there's only 3 clubs in the world that don't sell players. That's PSG, Real Madrid, and the Seattle Sounders. Right? That's it. Those are the only 3 clubs in the world that don't sell players. So I think for us, that's how you generate more cap space. You generate revenue for the club. We will continue to try to sell players. That makes sense. But what we're learning is we weren't prepared for the Mikel one. I think the Coco one, we had Jack lined up, and we reacted to that pretty quickly. Within, I think, 2 weeks, we had Jack on pen and paper. and had the trade made with Philadelphia. But the McKell one is the one that we failed on, and that's on myself and our recruitment group.
Go ahead, Chris.
So the last one for me. The obviously when results are not there, everybody starts asking for heads to be jumped off.
Okay.
Right. So how happy and how confident are you with obviously Ben Olsen at the head of the team? I mean,
Very confident,
you
very
alluded
happy.
to it, and then also
Go ahead.
let me go second part. Sorry. And then also the fact that I always mention this, you have other 5 head coaches in the bench potentially, right? So like a lot of people are like,
wow, are you insinuating that I'm bringing these guys in to replace them?
No, I didn't say that.
That's cold.
No, I'm just saying with obviously with so many heads, so many ideas, the question's like, oh, we can't even like with so many coaches on the bench.
Okay.
On that. I'm not up for.
No, I got you. No, I think that's
stealing jobs here.
Yeah. No. First and foremost, I one of the reasons I hired Ben is because I'd actually work with him. I know how he works. He's very collaborative. He works with his staff very closely. He has a lot of input from guys, and to your point, experienced guys here that have been head coaches. Although really, Josh Wolf is the only one that's really been a head coach at the MLS level. Also he's been assistant coach of the national team, so he has good experience, and they know each other well. So there's a lot of trust in our group. But in the end, it's Josh. In the end, it's Asher, Ben, and myself that we make the decisions in our club. We're the ones that make the sporting decisions. And Ben's done I think a good job this year. I think he'll in the end he may actually argue with me and say I don't know. He's not having we're not having a great year. But the issue is we didn't give him the first beginning of the season. We didn't give him a great club, and we lost goals. So like if people are going to say heads are going to roll, then they should probably be going after my head first and foremost. But I would also push back and say the last 2 years were pretty damn good. And we're going to throw it out 7 months in and say that we're no good. If we're sitting here this time next year, then there's probably a different discussion. I'll probably offer mine first. So before we start pointing fingers around the rest of the room.
He is Houston Dynamo president of soccer, Pat Onstad. Pat, before we let you go, I know we've talked about a lot of things here, but a message to the fans as this season wraps up. The playoffs still very much a possibility for this season, but a message just for the rest of this season. And as you guys start building, I know you guys are already looking ahead to next season, fixing this. If it's not this season, fixing it next season, right? So
for us, we're still focused on this year. Like there's this weekend hurts. There's no doubt about it. This was a massive game against San Jose, and from when I said we just had this meeting with Ben, Ash, and I, the 3 of us are not over it. Like we know that was a big blow to our playoff hopes. Having said that, we still have 7 games to go, and we're gonna have to put a streak together. We haven't done that a lot this year, so some people will say it's a stretch, but at the end of the day, I know we're gonna fight. And so the question we're having in that meeting is how do we get the most out of the group going forward for the rest of the year? So what I would say to the fans is we're going to make sure we do that until someone tells us like, hey, that's it. You're done. You're officially done. But I know Ben will keep fighting. That's who he is. That's one of the beauties about him is he keeps fighting. He developed that, I think, in DC for 10 years. He had to fight for everything there, and we'll keep fighting. In terms of next year, we're really still focused on these 7 games. Do we have to make decisions on players? Absolutely. Do we have those conversations? Actually, not formally. I think probably just more Asher and myself have those conversations. At this stage, our goal is to try to limit as many distractions for Ben and make sure he and his group are focused on trying to get the most of our group the rest of the season.
Pat, we appreciate the time. We appreciate you coming out to WeGotSoccer. Really awesome.
It's a great setup, guys. It's awesome.
And we'll definitely be doing more with this. And Pat, we always appreciate your time. Very straightforward with the fans. I know they appreciate it. And
I can't hear them yelling at me right now, so I'm sure there's a few.
Not playing Candy Crush. I'll
Twitter
fingers.
Yeah.
The Twitter fingers will be there. But yes, we will. We're very grateful for Pat coming. Pat, we appreciate it. We'll be right back with the show with another special guest and Houston Dash assistant GM Jason Lowe. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. After a short little brief break there, we have changed guests. We're now pleased to be joined by Houston Dash Assistant General Manager Jason Lowe. Jason, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Welcome to Houston.
Thank you.
Is this your first time being down in Houston, or?
I've been a few times to visit. My brother actually lived down here, and he ironically moved to Atlanta in January, and then I moved down here in July. So yeah, we were passing ships in the night, but came down and visited him. Always had good vibes down here, and just happy to be here.
Yeah, so you took over the assistant GM this summer, and previously I know you coached in colleges, you coached at Duke. So what was the transition like to the front office for you?
Yeah, it's been great so far. I mean, I got here right at the beginning of our summer break, so I was down here ready to work, and then everybody disappeared on me for about a month. So gave me a little bit extra time to kind of settle in. But yeah, it's a dream job. I'd known Angela for a while, our president of soccer operations, or president of soccer, women's soccer rather. And so, I think that just, always had an eye on the pro level from being in college a long time. And obviously there's a lot of changes going on in college soccer. So it was an optimal time to, kind of take a step into a new direction.
Yeah, and obviously the league itself has changed so much as well with you entering get rid of the draft, the way that you allocate players. How's that, taking all that into account as well as you come into the club and into the league?
Yeah, a lot of new changes and growth. I mean, before Duke, I was in Boston, so they were just announcing, the legacy, the new expansion club up there, and just seeing, how exciting the growth is with everything, and just our league being, continuing to be innovative in the way that they approach things. I think getting rid of the draft, obviously the players did a amazing job of, kind of negotiating their CBA and just elevating the way that we do things. And I think, now we're adapting to that, seeing what the draft being going away is like, and seeing what this new world, how it operates. So it's soon to tell.
And being at Duke, you got to coach Maggie Graham. We talked about it a little bit. She kind of burst onto the scene, Rookie of the Month, I believe, in her first month, scoring goals like every game she was at. She started. Now she's a regular starter. What did you see in Maggie at Duke? You probably saw she's going to be a pro one day. But what did you see in Maggie at Duke, and what are you seeing in her now here in Houston?
Yeah, what's interesting with Maggie is we actually go back to when she was a little hatter at Top Hat Soccer Club in Atlanta. So she and her sister were, the little minions, just learning how to play back then. So then to fast forward and have that experience with, her and the team at Duke, winning an ACC championship in the regular season and going to the College Cup, and just seeing her best year that she had. And it just shows her perseverance, her development. So I couldn't have been happy with her, for when she got here and had such a fast start. And what I think you see from Maggie is just her consistency and discipline. I think that's what's kept her on the field. And sky's the limit for her, I think.
Yeah, funny enough, we have a Houston Dash dedicated podcast called the Orange and Blueprints, and when they previewed the season, one of the hosts, his name is Diego Martinez, was extremely high on Maggie.
Yeah.
And a guy that was there on the show that had, follows the NWSL and women's college soccer, he was kind of doubtful. And then out of nowhere, out of the gate, where basically, she just kind of has made a name for herself. And just seeing her specifically, just the way that she's able to play different roles kind of has to be exciting.
Yeah.
When you have, again, a rookie that comes into any team.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as a rookie, the most important thing is just getting the time on the field, regardless of whether you're in the, your perfect spot. And I think the more that she's gained trust from the technical staff and from her teammates, it's allowed her to kind of settle into more of a consistent role for us. And, but yeah, I think as a rookie, you just want to be on the field as much as possible, whether they play at left back, holding mid, up top, whatever, as long as you're on the field and developing. I think that's the goal for your rookie year. And the goals have just been a bonus on top. She's, it's not flashy, but she'll put it in the back of the net if you need her to.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit, but transfer window, I believe it actually closed today, right? For the
yes.
A busy time for you guys.
Very.
But you guys had a lot of things going on. First, some incomings. Clarissa Laressi, a new striker, brought her over from Crystal Palace. What kind of goes into that? I know, you guys have a presence in Europe. We Angela and the club has talked about being at the Euros and seeing these players.
Sure.
Lisa Boateng as well.
Yeah.
But what goes into getting those European-based players to come to the Houston Dash, come to NWSL?
Yeah, I think, the one thing I've been impressed with, and again, I've been here for 2 months, so this is my quick take on it, but how aligned our staff is in terms of their evaluation of players and what our needs are, from the technical staff to Michael Poma and our recruitment, Angela, our medical staff, just everybody really being aligned and figuring out what we need. And then once we identify it, how to get them here and get them off to a good start and make them feel welcome. So, really excited. Clarissa made her debut last night and, got on. You can see her pace is going to be, a big asset for us. And Lisa's close, chomping at the bit. Just got a few little details to iron out there, and she'll be on the field, and fans will be excited to see her as well.
Yeah, I think we got to talk to Chappie last week, and I think her quote was that Clarissa is fast as hell.
She's a rocket. She is a rocket.
Yeah, just seeing her, in her 10 minutes, you could see that. But I think it gives Fabrice, it gives you guys a different dynamic, right?
Sure.
There hasn't been that, with Diana was here, there just hasn't been a number 9 kind of being the player grabbing the goals, being the focal point.
Yeah.
That is the hope with Clarissa, right?
Yeah, I think so. Her, and then just continue to develop, and elevate the rest of our attackers. I think that, certainly when you look at the roster standpoint, when you look at, other rosters, the players that they're bringing on in the 70th minute and the 60th minute, some pretty dangerous attacking players. And we want to, equip Fabrice with as many options as we can. And just, be competitive all the way down the stretch, as you've seen, down to the 90+ minute. So,
yeah, that I think that's, and you mentioned it, but like being a team that I think it was 3 straight games that you guys scored in the 88+ minute, that we talk about like having players that have those leadership qualities, players with that mentality, that never quit kind of thing.
Yeah.
From your position, how is that something that you would look out for? How do you kind of find players that, that's a player 85th minute we can count on to go get a job done?
Sure. Yeah. And I think, one of the things I've noticed is just our profile for our players. When you train in Houston every single day, like there is a character profile and a player profile that you have to fit. And a lot of that is being able to work really hard and play all the way to the final minute. And so when you look at some of the players who pulled off, those last minute goals, a lot of it's our vets, who come in, Sophie Schmitz and, some other players that just come in at the end, and that's the training every day that gets them there. So just happy for the entire roster that they're able to contribute.
You talk about obviously building the roster and bringing in players, but also Fabrice being a brand new coach, and it seems you guys are working with him. You guys are helping him build this roster. There's players, as Dustin mentioned, like Ordonez being was meant to be maybe a big role player. Bava Olivieri just recently traded, but how those dynamics also work out, especially you talk about Boston, her going that way, just the dynamics of seeing those players that maybe a lot of people expected more from them here, and still being able to move away from them.
Yeah, I think for Fabrice is learning what he needs in his system and how he wants to play, and that's a lot of the conversations he and I have. I obviously haven't been a head coach at this level, but being a head coach is a very, lonely position, because at the end of the day, you got to make the calls. And so just trying to help him through, help him figure out what he needs and what he's trying to do, and see the bigger picture so that he can kind of be in the weeds and figure out, what is the player profile that he needs. With the players, it's always different environment. You got to find that right match, So, I coached against Dee in college, and she's a handful, at Virginia, and, I'm sure she'll be successful, at the next stops, but, it's just trying to put that right group of players that mesh well together, and there's, no magic bullet for it, but, I think our group's, starting to get it right.
And, I guess a follow up to that, obviously same thing with some of the veterans, right, in the team. I think Jane Campbell finding herself in the bench for a little bit, a new role for Sophie Schmidt. I know you don't have a day-to-day notion on that aspect of it, but just working with Fabrice and understanding like the new roles that he expects from some players. And I'm assuming that's where you come in and try to help bring players that he needs in different positions as well, in different roles.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's there's so many things to manage, as I learned in my first month. I mean, we walked right into an international window, and we have a lot of international players that, I met them and then they all disappeared to go play for their national teams. And so, you have to manage that through the break. You've got, managing for injuries and things like that. So it's so dynamic. I think that's the thing that, obviously the pro game is faster, but the pro front office and the pro back office is just as fast. And so just trying to evolve with all those changes that the technical staff needs is the fun part and the challenging part.
But since you got here this summer, and now the team's are unbeaten in 4, I'm sure you're taking credit for that behind the scenes, right?
I am enjoying it. Let's just say that. I don't know that I've had too much to do with it yet, but I'm certainly enjoying rooting for them. And the energy is really, really good from I think the players all the way through our staff. Everybody's really enjoying and feeling like there's some real positive momentum going forward.
No, but but we joke about it. But there's rebuilding clubs, and we talked with Pat about it with the Dynamo. It takes a while, but we've seen this Dash team go through so many changes over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Now this year, it's a new coaching staff, it's a new front office, and even in the middle of this first season, you guys are pushing for the playoffs. How big is that for everyone? I assume everyone gets on the same page so quickly, and you guys gelling and working so well together.
Yeah, I think the results reinforce the work, and I think that's where we benefited the last few weeks is that, especially for a new coaching staff, you're just trying to find what works, right? And then once you start to get some results, then you can build on that and not have to kind of throw something new against the wall every week. And I think then the players start to buy into what you're doing, and then the staff knows how to kind of support that, around there. So I feel like that's where we're at. It's just the very beginning of it. So we need to keep pushing forward, and there's still some gaps that we need to try to fill. But I think that's what you're feeling from the outside is what we're feeling from the inside as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a little bit about going into that international break and seeing a lot of players, but that's also something kind of new for the club. I mean, at one point it was maybe a handful, and now it seems the whole squad is gone.
Yeah.
So, how are those dynamics as well whenever building that, competition internally?
Yeah, I think that's, obviously you said it. I mean, competition brings out the best from, like you said, from the vets to the rookies to everybody in between to our trialists. I mean, when you come into an environment where that's, the standard's really, really high, and and think for those players too that went away with the national teams, when they come back, that extra little lift that they get from playing in those competitions just helps us out, even from our players at the under 18 level all the way to the senior team level. So that's something I hope we continue.
Yeah, and Jason, we really appreciate your time. Jason Lowe, Assistant General Manager from the Houston Dash here at WeGotSoccer. Your first time out here. Pretty cool place.
It's awesome. I was saying I used to spend hours in soccer stores like this. So this is definitely going to have to come back and shop the shelves.
Yeah, I made the mistake of bringing my 10-year-old and walked out here with a big bag full of stuff. But Jason, before we let you go, I know a lot of Dash fans, we talked about the four-game unbeaten streak. A lot of Dash fans, the positivity, I think, is at a high. I know the people we interact with, it's like, the Dash are going to do this. The Dash are going to the playoffs. Just a message for the fan base. It's been a rough couple of years. We talked about it.
Yeah.
But you guys are clearly on the right path, right? What can you say about what this team is becoming and what you guys hope to be building here?
Yeah, I think, what you're seeing on the field is coming from a lot of hard work and consistency. And I think we just hope to see that out of our fans as well, as just to keep showing up, whether it's, win, lose, or draw. The NWSL, I think, is a little different than even the MLS in that every single game it's exciting, but you just never know how it's going to end up. So we've got a long stretch. We got 9 games, I think, left. We got 3 at home, balance on the road. Mm-hmm. So we've got some really, tough challenges coming up, and just coming out and support us. We love seeing them out there, and we're going to keep grinding every single time we step on the field.
He is Houston Dash Assistant General Manager Jason Lowe. Jason, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
We'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, hope so.
We'll be right back to wrap the show up. Welcome back to the show, Christian Mid Pastry here. So we really appreciate the Dynamo and the Dash, Pat Onstead and Jason Lowe for joining us. Great interviews. We really hope you guys got a lot of insight from them. It was great to hear kind of that, just what goes on in front offices, right? Like there's a lot of talk about front offices and what goes on day to day, transfer windows. Well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? So it's cool to have that perspective, right?
Yeah, no, I trying to hear the conversation. I know I wasn't in the room, but Pat itself was obviously, like, we tend to know him as very transparent, very candid, and informative. And if there is any Easter eggs in there, maybe you guys will let me know later. But it gets to the point that they understand that things did not go right. They understand that they didn't make the right moves whenever they lost important people like Mikael and Coco.
Yeah.
Specifically Mikael, I think that's who he mentioned being a
that
big
hurts
surprise.
most. Yeah.
And to me, it's like Mikael hurts more because he lost Vyachenko as well. So it's interesting. But and then Jason too, the feedback that he brought in. But I guess finishing with the Dynamo, man, what were your thoughts? And obviously tough result against San Jose when everybody expected to win as well.
I mean, I just appreciate the fact that Pat is so honest in a sense, right? Like, he's not gonna bullshit you. He's not gonna talk around you or just give you something that you want to hear. Like, obviously, he understands that. Obviously the team hasn't been producing what they wanted to produce, or playing the way that they wanted to play, or whatever it may be. And I mean, it's just cool that he recognizes. Obviously, I mean, we talk about it in our chat, right? Like we have to be understanding of what happened and what led this team to be the way that it is right now. And yeah, I mean, you can sugarcoat it or say, we have 2 years. Obviously, we live in a place where results obviously are wanted every single game, but also we have to be understanding that basically shit happens and you just kind of have to roll with the punches. And even though we are not where we want to be, and I sometimes I try to be devil's advocate and try to be the more to ask questions and just go at Pat, go at Ben, and just ask sometimes stupid questions, but it's questions that people may have or whatever. But I think the stuff is there. It's pretty obvious. I mean, you lost your best defenders, you lost your best midfielders, you didn't really bring much in to back it up. He even said, we messed up. I mean, what else were we going to do? You can't fire him. He came back from back-to-back really good seasons after 7 years. I mean, obviously we talk about people having small memories about what we were 5 years ago, and before that, but what can you say?
Yeah, I think the key takeaway I have from it is like they know that this is A, not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
B, it has to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Pat was pretty straightforward in like trying not to sugarcoat it. Like even Saturday's game, they're pissed off, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose those games if you're trying to make the playoffs. And at the same time, and I know people on social media might not want to hear this, but they have full confidence in Ben.
Right.
And Ben's not
he
going
ain't
anywhere.
going nowhere.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
and like you mentioned, it was the confidence in the first 2 years, right? I did not expect for the team to get that better that quickly, right? Going all the way to winning the U.S. Open Cup year one, going all the way to semifinals in the Western Conference, and the year after that, that playoff push didn't really happen. They didn't look bad in the playoffs, but it just stopped a little sooner than they wanted to. They had the most points, in Dynamo history as well. Yeah. So just because they have one bad season, because then you think about it the opposite way, right? If they would have started slow, if year one was this, then you wouldn't have time to let it grow, to let it brew, to let it get it right. And I know he mentioned that the timeline for them was 4 years. And I think in reality, they mentioned 2025 being their year when they first talked. But either way, I think it's about building what you have, and now understanding that you did it right the first time with the way you approach it, right? Bring in a big name player like Hector Herrera. Do you do that again? Like, I think this creates the questions that they really need to build something that can last at the end of the day. And before I keep going, obviously thank Jack for coming in, communications for Dynamo, as well as Edgar Belize here with Jason Lowe. But yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
And lastly, I like the fact that he knows obviously that it's bad, but he also said if next year we're at this same time next year and we're in this position, then yeah, like I completely understand that my head probably has to go.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm confident in that he is realistic in the fact that he knows where the product is and that it has to get better. And if it doesn't get better with now a little bit more traction or more ideas or more time and time for improvements, then,
I'll just add something that I've heard. Obviously, Madeline, right, our fan reporter, was out there talking to fans, and they have every reason to say whatever they want, right? They pay for the tickets, they don't find things acceptable. But one of the takeaways that I got was from a guy that mentioned about yes, they could make the playoffs, but we want them to make the playoffs, and making the playoffs, it's a thing, right? You want to be there. You want to kind of have that opportunity, that chance of possibly getting the MLS Cup, because that's what happens, right? You get in the playoffs and anything goes. But their mentality that I keep hearing too is like, well, that would be a Band-Aid. And hearing Pat say the things he says, I don't think they see it that way either, right? They understand that they need to fix it. So whether they make the playoffs or not, I think the understanding is it needs to be changed. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
I think it's important what Christian said. If let's say they make the playoffs and they go out in the first round, I don't think that's going to change. And what Rudy said, that's going to change their perspective going into 2026, right? They still know 2025 wasn't good enough. Even if they made a run to, the Western Conference, whatever,
Right.
As a whole, they've got to get better. Maybe they catch fire and make a run here to the playoffs and win a couple playoff games. But echoing what Christian said, which I think was one of the big takeaways I had too, was if we're here maybe at WeGotSoccer next August and this team's in 12th place, then and Pat knows it, him and Ben, and it's probably a whole clean house again.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't get them going to turn this around, then they probably are going to go, right? And you probably are going to start from square one again, which we saw 2 years ago before before Ben got here. There's a lot on the line. The rest of the season, like Pat said, they still got a shot. I mean, it's an outside shot after they lost to San Jose. But they still have a shot. And not only is front offices and stuff like that, but these players are playing for jobs these last 2 weeks, right? There's a number of options, number of guys out of contract.
Bingo. And that's something that obviously as the season gets closer towards the end, whether the playoffs are here or not, that's a big conversation, because we talked about it in one of our last episodes about this. It's a big list of players that at this point they should have taken full advantage of players that left and they didn't, and so it's really on them. As you mentioned, they're playing to continue playing here in Houston or professionally. And so because of that, it should light everyone pants on fire to do better. Now, I guess we'll see. And then the Dash, completely different thing for them, right? I think it's funny because when the season started, I was very hopeful with the hire, and it seemed like it was going, and it took a while. Let's be honest. It took a while, and it's still not there. Obviously, they're still in a playoff hunt. But just the way that even Jason, who's only been here a couple months, he sees a difference in the way they're working behind the scenes and getting this team better, and not necessarily falling with one specific player making it happen. If it doesn't work, if it didn't work with Ordonez, if it didn't work with Olivieri, be able to move away from them is interesting as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of yin and yang from where the Dynamo are right now, right? It's the Dynamo are in this like, oh man, what's going to happen? Oh crap, and the sky's falling and all the fans are freaking out, and rightfully so, right? Like this team is not performing. And on the Dash side, it's like, oh man, we're going to win it all. But you have that feeling of like just this renewed, like this club is getting back to honestly what a real club should be. Like how long, I mean, this is their 10th, 11th season, and they
only made it to playoffs once.
one playoff appearance, and they've basically just been a bottom of the table NWSL team. So Angela, Jason, Fabrice, all these people that are coming in and building something, it's promising.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. Definitely the way that they're approaching it. And again, it's a rookie coach, right? First time being a head coach, and Fabrice, and the way that he approaches the game. I mean, you guys, are always in the pressers asking him questions. You know how smart he is. He knows the game, and sometimes it seems like he's too smart for his own sake. And some of the things that he was trying, and I think finally he got the hang of it. Like, let's not, recreate the wheel. Let's just kind of go with what we have. Use the players that are able to play specific roles, and also moving players that were starters like a Sophie Schmidt, and be like, hey, you know what, super sub it is. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
No, but funny that you mentioned that, because playing. Like you guys were talking about how they are getting comfortable with moving players, right? Which is something that you have to do it. Like you said, maybe he was trying to do something with a team or players that weren't, they weren't fitting that style. I think also we see that on the Dynamo that, a lot of changes, a lot of moving parts, how this guy going to fit here with this guy here. Maybe he doesn't work good there. We got to move him here. And the Dash, obviously, or at least whoever is managing that, Fabrice obviously being the head coach, he's understanding that, maybe you do have to plug and play different players in different positions, and is giving results. So at least they have the understanding that, we don't have to be married to, certain player just because of their image or what they, mean to the club, or, because they're a city girl, or, from like Houston or
hometown Katy kid.
Exactly. So at least they have that, and obviously the priority is to get back on the playoffs, be a competitive team, be a team that could attract obviously bigger names than what they have, and just keep moving forward. So this is a good step, and obviously sometimes you have to, like the Dynamo did, refresh the whole house, right?
And honestly, I think for the Dynamo, that's what's going to end up happening. That list of players that have contracts ending and options, especially if the season does not make the playoffs, you're going to see a big purge again.
So before we wrap things up here today, we want to give a big shout out to WeGotSoccer for having us out here.
Yes.
Awesome place. If you guys haven't been out here, come check it out in the West Chase area, right off Westheimer. They've got, every jersey possible.
It's crazy.
They got Boca jerseys. Can you believe that?
They had Wrexham jerseys. Me and Chris were like, look out, there's all these like Serie A, Premier League, and Wrexham. But Wrexham, that's
if
Hollywood.
Not if. I know that Ruben is listening to this, and he'll listen to this, but someone said they need a Leeds United jersey. So just if you want to make Jack the Houston Dynamo communications coordinator, if you want to keep him happy, maybe we'll bring a Leeds.
Big shout out to Ruben for and all the guys that WeGotSoccer for putting together this awesome studio. We'll be back. We're hoping to do these often. We'll have some players out as well. But before we go, Christian, tell the people.
Yes. Shout out to Aldo that came here to take pictures of me.
Yes, our photographer Aldo, he's off camera.
Aldo, come over here so the camera can catch you. They saw you for a good while one day.
He was in the corner.
If you check out our website and our social media, you've seen a lot of Aldo's pictures. He's awesome. So
shout out to the whole team, man. I think we built. I was praising you guys earlier, but I'm gonna do it here live. But these two guys right here, Rudy and Dustin, honestly. For the Houston soccer community, if you guys don't know, they do so much work for the community as a whole. If you like soccer and if you like the Dynamo, the Dash, and everything that they do, these two guys honestly kill it. They do so much behind the scenes that you guys would not understand. I don't know how they're still married, but they're still married. Their wives support them, so shout out to the wives too. They do. Honestly, they hold it down. But,
shout out to the wives.
But other than that, they're also great dads because, if you check out their Instagrams, they're everywhere around the city, taking kids to parks, taking kids to soccer places. So check out the website, BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to find everything and anything that we do here, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, X. We are everywhere. Subscribe to the YouTube, like I said. It helps a lot. Make sure you leave a thumbs up. And leave us a review on the podcast. If you're listening to this on the day after, just make sure you leave a nice review and and we'll do our best here. So shout out to everyone. BayouCitySoccer.net, the home for Houston Soccer. Or where Houston Soccer lives.
No, there you go. I know. I'm just gonna add, now I'm laughing, and I forgot what I was gonna say, but that's what happens, right? Dang, it was right here, and I completely. I remember. Yeah, obviously, next time we hope that when we get a player in or a head coach, we hope that I know it's 6:00. I know it's Houston traffic. But we would love to see fans come out here and check out the shop. Get yourself, obviously we want you to get a Houston Dynamo or Dash gear, but they have everything. I hear from Liga MX, from everywhere around the world. So feel free to stop by, check it out. When we're not here, come by as well. And then, but yeah, we hope to see more of you guys out here in this special events that we're doing.
Yep. So for Rudy and Christian, I'm Dustin. We will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Pat. Thanks to Jason, everyone at the Dynamo and Dash. It's been the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. See you next time.